In case you had any lingering assertions that the CBC weren't totally and completely woke at this point, CBC cancels Alexander Graham Bell for teaching deaf kids how to communicate. It's as fucking absurd as the headline leads you to believe. The CBC is complete and utter trash. Nobody really pays attention to them. They just have the monopoly on the airwaves, and their boring-ass talk radio makes 11 grams of fentanyl in your bloodstream seem like a cold bucket of water to the face. But no, the namesake of the largest competitor, I guess probably by size, the Bell Corporation pretty much owns half of the media that's not controlled by CBC. Them and Rogers. It's pretty much a duopoly that we have in the Great White North. It's despicable, to say the least. And I've always known Alexander Graham Bell stole the idea of the telephone from, I think, an Italian or something. I'm not too sure, but I've always known him as a thief. But the audacity of him trying to teach deaf kids, oh, that's just going way too fucking far. My God. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation published an article on Sunday accusing Alexander Graham Bell of trying to assimilate deaf kids by teaching oralism. Sexy. A method which looks to teach deaf people to communicate with lip reading and speaking rather than sign language. Oh my fucking God. How could you rationalize this? Let's see. Author this bitch. Let's just see. We're gonna do this on the fly. I want to see how many random tattoos and how many random cats she has. Well, she subverted my expectations ever so slightly, but at the same time, even though she's not 300 pounds, she can definitely make sure that no prey animals will ever approach her with her eyes that far apart. She just looks like a fucking barrel of fun now, doesn't she? See, I can make fun of her because she grew up in a mixed hearing or a deaf family, so she can't really bust my balls too bad. And if I do this, she won't even be able to tell what I'm saying. Oh, but she doesn't believe in that witchcraft like lip reading. And he just puts so many NFL scouts to shame on that one. My God. But has normal hearing herself. Well, I guess I offended somebody she knows. Wrote about the trauma many deaf people still carry today from Bell's teaching in her book, The Inventions of Miracles, Language, Power, and Alexander Graham Bell's Quest to End the Deafness. I can't even begin to express the deep, deep trauma so many deaf people still carry from these educations, said Booth. What a fucking moron. Literally. Like, what's the argument? I don't get it. You're trying to teach people more useful methods to communicate with one another. Oh, but no. If people can't communicate with one another, they get preconceptions about the other side, and then you can't create the division. I see what's going on here. Let's see what the critics say. That harmful ripple effect of oralism teachings exists in the deaf community to this day, with not all deaf people possessing the ability to learn spoken language. Okay, just because some deaf people are retarded doesn't mean that all of them are incapable of communicating via this helpful method. Like what? You're trying to paint all deaf people with the same brush? Like, what? That's so mentally deficient that I hope your condominium gets set on fire and you aren't alerted in the middle of the night because you can't hear the fire alarm. It's just localized in the kitchen, though. Nothing else burns down. Nobody horrifically dies or anything. No, of course not. They argue that some deaf people are being left behind in a hearing society. No kid left behind. This is so dumb. Alexander Graham Bell's been dead for what, like 100 years at this point? So what, by extension, putting in fucking hearing aids? I don't know. You're trying to make deaf people monsters. You're trying to just make little crippled $6 million men. Man, it's so fucking stupid. I seen this headline and I just had to report on it mostly because I wanted to do a deaf accent and because it's fun. And the CBC's propaganda and their hatred of, well, frankly, communication that they don't control needs to be silenced and squashed at every fucking turn. And whenever I can poke fun and expose the CBC for being the communist broadcaster of Canada, I will point it out at every given opportunity. But like I said, at I think the end of one of the videos, we also got an example of the United States trying to be canceled on a huge global scale. But the guy doing the attempted canceling is about the biggest beta cuck bitch I've ever seen in my entire life. And we be talking about Prince Harry. And he stuck his wife's boyfriend's foot in his mouth and made a complete and total asshole out of himself. Prince Harry describes America's First Amendment law that guarantees freedom of speech as bonkers, but admits, I still don't understand it. Perfectly emblematic of leftists. What is that? That's bad. That's racist. That's sexist. But I don't know anything about it, though. But it probably is, because everything is, right? This motherfucker. This is your brain on wokeness. Prince Harry has described the First Amendment as bonkers, criticizing the freedom of speech sacred to his adopted homeland. Well, fucking, there's the door, pal. Get the boat. Get the boat. His comments on the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States comes 2 months after he was named to the left-leaning panel to combat misinformation. But I don't understand it, and I'm on the misinformation panel. Oh, you can't make this stuff up. The Aspen Institute panel. Oh, man, they used to hold that really great Aspen Ideas Festival, and this fucking ginger-haired half-heir to the throne. You can't tell me that that general isn't his real dad. Like, you've seen the comparison pictures. Come on now. He's supposed to be in charge of a fucking Ideas Festival. God, we need to hurry up because I keep staring at that top picture on the side. Fucking Daily Mail. Try to do your best to throw me off the scent, but I'm sticking to this story. But the Aspen Institute panel is funded by a grant from Craigslist founder Craig Newmark. Cool. Craigslist has been accused of wiping out huge chunks of American newspapers' revenue by taking away their classified advertising. Yeah, sucks to suck. It's what happens when you allow people this functionally stupid to write for your newspaper. You just put out ideas, couch them in news, and people stop buying your product. It's going on literally everywhere. Just media, music, the written and spoken word. People just stop paying attention to you. It's what happens in the marketplace of free ideas. You know, people expressing their freedom of speech and freedom of association, and they are choosing not to associate with you. But of course you think that's stupid. Or bonkers. Sorry, we'll use the proper vernacular. Also on the panel, dubbed the Commission of Information Disorder. Oh, so it's not so much that they're no longer lies. They become disinformation, then misinformation, then disinformation, and now it's an information disorder, because that's one of the leftist go-to things, right? Whenever they don't agree with you on something, you are clearly mentally incapable of adopting such a profound idea. Oh, there's nothing wrong with me, of course. It's clearly something wrong with you and your mental deficiency. Yeah, obviously. 14 other people, including Catherine Murdoch, the wife of, Rupert Murdoch's son, James. Is that the woke one? Probably. Who resigned from his father's media empire last year. Yeah, that's the one who donated him and his wife $1 million to the Biden campaign in 2020. Yeah, you can't make this up. See, he even in this picture with fucking Dax Shepard, he looks like the third toughest person in there. And there he's trying to get the attention of somebody's manager. His comments on the United States' most cherished values raised eyebrows, with one congressman telling him to go back to his own country. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. And with former UK Independence Party chief Nigel Farage, who could absolutely wipe the floor with him in any public forum. Oh god, I would pay to see that. That'd be so fucking genius. The brass balls on Nigel Farage. And when can we get a fucking knighthood for this dude? That motherfucker has done more for the United Kingdom than any other politician since probably Churchill. Would soon wear out his welcome. Meanwhile, his appointment to the 6-month commission that could have the federal government promote fact-based information to counter the most dangerous disinformation campaigns. They're conflagrating different pieces of terminology. I get it. It's just trying to, once again, dissuade you from seeking any sort of clarification. They'll just keep piling on their different terms, but at the end of the day, they ain't got nothing. The 36-year-old cuck appeared on Dax Shepard's podcast on Thursday. Everybody has a fucking podcast. Even Dax Shepard, who was, popular for like 10 seconds? What was he even fucking famous for? Like, I know the name, but I don't know why he's famous. I don't know why I'd know his name. Like, was he my waiter once? Like, I don't know. Armchair expert to discuss mental health, his family, life in Los Angeles, and his future projects. Okay, if he was going to be discussing mental health and he doesn't understand the importance of freedom of speech, the motherfucker should not be talking about ways to solve mental health. I don't know, man. He expressed shock at how much attention he received while living at film producer Tyler Perry's mansion in Beverly Hills, and compared the media feeding frenzy. And complained to the media feeding frenzy. You're a royal, or you were, once you got your title stripped, were. And your bitch wife used to be a model or something. This motherfucker. I've got so much to say about the First Amendment as I sort of understand it, but it is bonkers. What's not to get? Like, much as I was just cussing out the Daily Mail, they did the great thing right here by printing out the First Amendment. Let's see how difficult this is. Let's see if I am smarter, in fact, than the former Duke of Sussex, or Ginger Bitch. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Oh, yeah, it's already been desecrated. Or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press. We could do without that. Or the right to the people peaceably assembled, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Congress cannot infringe on your right to speak or assemble. Somebody should probably print that out and send that to your local representative, because pretty much everything in there has been trampled upon by the government, big tech, and mainstream media. And depending on your employer, probably somewhere there. But it's a private company. Still parroting that talking point. My friend, you are on the same wavelength as Prince Harry. But as you can see, Prince Harry's on a great list of people on this Aspen panel. You got Katie Couric, Chris Krebs, Rashad Robinson, Marla Blow, Aaron Ford, Sue Gordon. Sue Gordon sounds familiar. Oh yes, the former Glowy. Will Hurd, Jameel Jaffer, and the list goes on of people who I should probably know and take note of, because they're probably attempting to undermine the Constitution in some form or fashion. So yeah, those are two fun little stories. Yeah, Prince Harry, still a bitch. CBC, still towing that party line. And with that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.